Hi guys. Okay, so we are going to talk about Shakeology today. Basically, I'm going to be breaking down the formulas and the ingredients that are in Shakeology and explaining why it's so helpful and why it's been so beneficial for so many people. So, if you don't know me, we've got a lot of new people on our team in this past month. So if you don't know me, if we haven't met yet, my name is Sarah Holland. I'm the founder of the Stronger Together tribe. And I've been drinking Shakeology for almost 2.5 years now. And I'm really excited to share with you guys a little more information about it because I believe very much that it's really important that we know what we're putting into our bodies and on our bodies on a daily basis, and that we understand, of course, why we're spending $100 to $130 for this bag of shake mix. So there's a lot to go through. So get something to take some notes, grab a pen and paper. I really want you at the end of this video to understand why I recommend this shake for so many people, why it's so healthy or so helpful for so many people, for not only reaching their weight loss goals or fitness goals, but also just for overall health and wellness. So with that, I will say there are a lot of misconceptions, myths, misunderstandings about Shakeology that are shared on the internet. When I was first looking into it and considering if I wanted, trying to figure out if I wanted to be drinking this and putting this in my body, I came across a lot of those things on the internet. And hopefully, if you see some of those things, hopefully you take the time to actually compare their claims to the back of the bag. Because when I did that, some of the biggest concerns that people seem to have when I looked at the back of the bag, those ingredients weren't in there. They were confused about certain names of things and what they were. So just do your research, and I want to share some of the facts with you. We're kind of still going to be going scratching the surface of some of these ingredients because there are so many of them, and this video I don't want it to be like 5 hours long, so I'm going to go through it kind of quickly. But I also really want to recommend that you guys take some time and just kind of research some of these ingredients on your own to see why they're in there, why they're so beneficial. But I'm going to go ahead and walk you through the 5 different formulas that are in Shakeology. Now, I'm actually going to take, and I'm just going to go through, I'm going to go down the label on the list on the back of the bag. So if you have your bag of Shakeology, go ahead and grab it and go through it with me. And this is, I've got the I have chocolate here. The vegan chocolate. Vegan is the white bag. The original formula does have whey, and that's in the black bag. So you might have that one, and I'll talk about the difference there as well. And then if you haven't seen these are the little individual packets that you can get. I like to have them on hand for traveling and things like that. If we're going somewhere, it's easier to throw just a packet in my purse or whatever. It's handy. The difference is that the big bag is 30 servings and a box of these guys is only 24. It's the same price, but you get a little bit less because there's more packaging and cost involved there. So I guess that's the price of convenience. So I know a lot of people that take this and then put it in like a little Ziploc bag or container. That's fine, but there's just options for you. So total side note. All right, 5 formulas that are in Shakeology. Basically, all of this, there's over 70 superfoods that are in Shakeology, and they can be kind of lumped into 5 different formulas that people typically go out and buy separately. So the first piece is the protein blend. The second is the superfruit or antioxidant blend. And then third, we have the phytonutrient or super greens blend. And then we have the adaptogen blend. And then we have the digestive health blend. So 5 different really powerful and really beneficial formulas, and I'm going to kind of break them down for you. So in the vegan protein blend, we have chia, which chia I feel like is getting more popular, especially for endurance athletes, using a lot of chia. But chia is a seed that was used by Romans and by other indigenous cultures for times when they would need lots of endurance, like a long journey. Oh, my light keeps doing this. Or before they go off to war or something like that. So, sorry, let me get this. Okay, hopefully it stays on. So anytime that they're going to need a lot of physical endurance, they would consume chia. And so it's got chia protein in there. It also has pea protein, which, another side note, pea protein can be, not all pea proteins are the same. We'll just say that, okay? So pea protein can come from a lot of different countries in the world and a lot of different places. And it's not always the cleanest, purest pea protein. Man, why is this doing this? Sorry, guys. Sometimes this light stays on, and then other times it like just randomly turns off. It's kind of weird. Okay. So pea protein, it can come, there's a lot of different suppliers, and the quality from different suppliers is not always the same. So Beachbody has one supplier for their pea protein that meets their requirements. They have one grower, I don't know, supplier who supplies all of it, and it is extensively tested. A lot of this actually applies to rice protein too. Pea protein and rice protein, a lot of the plant-based proteins, especially ones that are grown in other parts of the world, can be contaminated with heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, things like that. They can be pretty heavily contaminated if there aren't regulations and things like that in place. So not all pea protein is the same. And they go to this one supplier, and it is the only supplier that they work with because they meet their requirements for purity, for making sure that there are no heavy metals or pesticides or herbicides or anything in the product. So that's one of the things to be aware of. If you were to go to, say, Walmart or GNC and get the cheapest pea protein you can find, you don't know what you're getting. Sometimes there are even fillers in there. A lot of suppliers will include like 80% pea protein and then like 20% filler or something like that. So Beachbody goes and does their own testing on every single batch of every ingredient, actually, to make sure that there are no heavy metals, no pesticides, no contaminants, no fillers, that it is pure, 100% clean, what it's supposed to be, in this case, pea protein. So I really like that, because when you're consuming these other pea proteins that have these other things in them, it can actually be kind of harmful for your body. And there are some people who have had bad experiences with even like a vegan protein, a pea protein, and they may even believe that they're allergic to pea protein, when really sometimes it's the things that are in the pea protein, it's not the pea protein itself. So just something to be aware of. And then the other proteins that are in it are Sacha Inchi, which is a very exotic, I've started hearing about it a little more recently in other circles, but Sacha Inchi is kind of a very exotic protein source that I forget where it's grown. I should know these things. The geographer in me loves knowing where these things come from, but I can't remember off the top of my head. So it's a superfood and a protein. That's what I'm trying to say. So it has other benefits, not just protein. So it's something to look into, but it's included in our protein blend here. And then we have flax, quinoa, rice, and oat protein. So that's the vegan protein blend. The only difference between the vegan protein blend and the original is that the original also includes whey. So the original has all these other protein sources in it, but it also includes whey. And the whey is from cows. The suppliers are in Europe, Ireland, and New Zealand. and they're all the cows are tested to make sure that there are no growth hormones, no antibiotics, nothing in there. Is the whey is cold processed, so it's not homogenized or broken down, and that's really important because that means that the enzymes that your body needs to be able to digest the whey and absorb it, because if we can't absorb it, then it's not really helpful to consume it. Then it has the enzymes and everything, the nutrients are still in there, and you're going to be able to digest and absorb that better. So that's the difference there. The awesome thing about this protein blend is that it has a variety of sources of protein. I love that it's not just one source of protein, because protein is broken down by our bodies into amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. And different types of protein have different amino acid profiles, so different amino acids in different amounts in each type of protein. And our body needs to have a variety of amino acids so that because they react differently and do different things in our body. So I love that, honestly, in my personal diet outside of Shakeology, my protein sources are typically chicken, a little bit of beef, kind of a lot of eggs, and sometimes Greek yogurt. That's not a lot of variety. I love to eat fish, but my husband can't stand the smell of it. So that's like a whole food category that's kind of out the window for cooking at home, at least. So I love that I'm getting a variety of amino acids in this protein blend. Okay, so I think that's all I want to say about protein. Let me check my notes here because there's a lot that I want to go over. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Okay, so going back to the testing, and this is a good time actually to mention the testing and quality control process that Beachbody goes through for all their ingredients. So I mentioned that they test the pea protein and all these things. So there are over 70 superfoods in this bag. And of course, not all of them are grown here in the United States. Not all of them we can get in the United States. And so they have to come from countries all over the world. One of the things that I love about this product is, even though it's not certified organic, because with so many suppliers in so many countries and so many places around the world, the cost of having each supplier certified organic, because they'd have to certify each supplier individually, would be astronomical. However, Beachbody's requirements for working with and including a product from a supplier are essentially the same as organic. So there are no pesticides, no GMOs, no heavy metals, and nothing like that. And they actually go and visit each supplier regularly and do they call it a white glove test, where they check to make sure that everything's clean. They test the soils, they test the machinery and everything to make sure that it's up to their standards. And then when they get each product, each of the 70 superfoods, every time they get a batch, a shipment of it, a delivery, it's tested with 60 different tests. So each product, each ingredient undergoes 60 different tests each time it's received by Beachbody to ensure, like I said, that there are no contaminants, no pesticides, that it's clean, that it's pure, that it is what it's supposed to be, that it's not laced with anything. I guess there was a while there where some of the protein sources were being laced with performance-enhancing drugs, and it was a whole, I don't remember how long ago this was, but it was a whole big thing. And so they test for all these things to make sure that what they're getting is exactly, it's pure, it's clean, and it's exactly what it's supposed to be. So I love that. So then they mix it all together. And then on each finished batch of Shakeology, they do 300 tests to make sure that everything is exactly what it's supposed to be, that the amount of quinoa protein in there is exactly it's the right amount, that all the nutrient levels, all the ingredient levels, everything is exactly where it's supposed to be, and clean and not contaminated and everything. So if you think about it, 70 ingredients, each tested 60 different times, 60 different tests, and then they blend it all together, and then they test it 300 times. So that is their quality control process, and that is one of the reasons that I am so confident in this product because, to be honest, they don't have to do that. Other companies don't do that, and most people don't even ask about that or care. But they are committed to going to such great lengths to deliver a product that is truly helping people be healthier. I mean, if you think about it, if they're delivering a product that's laced with heavy metals, that's got pesticides in it, that's got, who knows what in it, then that's not really going to be making people healthier. So their commitment towards actually helping people get healthier this is one way, the ways that they live that out. And I just love that about this product. So it's very, very committed to such a high quality product. And to me, the fact that we can get that with all that testing and effort that goes into every single batch, that we can get that for $97 to $130 a bag is actually pretty amazing when you think about it. So anyway, back to the protein blend. The protein blend is very comprehensive, and that's one of the things that I love about it. Okay. Let's see, I talked about the whey. Okay. All right, so we'll move on to the superfruit antioxidant blend. I think I went over everything. Let's see. We have camu camu, acerola cherry, bilberry, lycium berry or goji berry, green tea, lohan guo, pomegranate, and rose hips. And this whole category of the superfruit antioxidant blend is very high in vitamin C, very high in antioxidants. Camu camu and acerola cherry are actually the highest, or some of the highest, vitamin C foods out there. So if you think an orange is like the gold standard for vitamin C, like these are way higher than oranges. So these help by supporting our immune system, by reversing signs of aging and preventing cellular damage, which is basically the same thing as aging. So one of the things that I love that I want to mention about this category is that it also has rose hips in there. So if you were to go to a vitamin shop or whatever and get a vitamin C supplement, if it's a high quality supplement, it's going to have rose hips in it. And that's one of the ways that you can tell whether or not it's a high quality supplement. And the reason for that is because vitamin C, our bodies can only absorb so much vitamin C at a time. And the rose hips actually increases the absorbability and how much your body can retain and absorb. Any extra, normally any extra just passes through. But rose hips helps your body kind of hold on to more of that and be able to use more of that, which I love because it just kind of goes to show that first of all, that they know that's needed, and also that they're committed to making sure that not only can we consume the product, but that it's actually able to be used by our body at its very best, the very most. So I really like that. The next category is our super green phytonutrient blend, and it has moringa, chlorella, spinach, kale, and matcha. And I love this one because it really helps. This category does a lot of things, but moringa and chlorella in specific, or in particular, can help our bodies remove toxins that have been stored. So we're exposed to toxins all the time. The air we breathe, the food and water we consume, the things we put on our body and on our skin, and it's stored in our fat cells. A lot of those toxins that if our liver can't and our kidneys can't process it, if it's too much, our body stores it in our fat cells. So when you start a new program, and a new weight loss program, and your body is processing that fat and it's releasing those toxins again, having to process them again. So sometimes people will feel nauseous or feel like you have the flu, and that's because you're starting to release those toxins, which is a good thing because it means that you're starting to your body's starting to do what you want it to do. But it's also really helpful to have ingredients like moringa and chlorella to help your body. It kind of like attracts the toxins almost like a magnet. It attracts the toxins and then helps your body process them and pass them through instead of keeping them in your body. And so it's really helpful for detoxing and removing things like heavy metals from the body. Let's see, and moringa. Moringa is very powerful for detoxification. It's also powerful for alkalinizing or oxygenate. Oh my gosh, these words. I'm struggling today. I need more coffee. Balancing the pH of your body. Let's go with that. pH is easier. This is something that I have heard about. Back in, I think it was in 1970s, Dr. Oh, geez, I'm going to forget his name. Otto Warhol, something like that. He discovered, though, that cancer cells can't grow in an alkaline environment. And this is something that is a little bit controversial, but I just like to mention it. And so according to his study, you can take a cell out of an alkaline environment, put it in an acidic environment, and it will become cancerous. And you can put it back into an alkaline environment, and it will become normal again. So I personally like including things in my diet that are going to help my body be a little more alkaline. Again, I've seen like some people take that whole thing very seriously and argue strongly for or against it. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but if it's helping me detox and it's, balancing my pH, then that's great. And in fact, moringa and chlorella are a couple of things that a lot of people who are health nuts will buy separately. They'll go out and buy it specifically to add to their shakes and things so that they can be processing toxins and removing toxins from their body. So that's kind of a fun fact. And then these next two categories, you guys are my absolute favorite. Like if you're going to dig into the ingredients in any of these categories, this next one in particular will blow your mind. This is the adaptogen blend. And I would highly, highly suggest that you look up, like take the back of your bag and look up these ingredients and research them. So we have, I'll just read through them and then I'm going to kind of break them down into some chunks and talk about them. Ashwagandha, astragalus, cordyceps, maca, maitake, reishi, schisandra, and chaga. And no, I didn't sneeze. You're probably like gesundheit. You probably haven't heard a lot of these things. Many of these are actually mushrooms. They're medicinal mushrooms that have been used by traditional and cultures for many, many, many hundreds, thousands of years. So they're not like hallucinogenic mushrooms or anything like that. But what these do is they help our bodies manage stress. So we all have stress, and we all have, what happens when we are exposed to stress, our bodies pump out cortisol and adrenaline. And since these days, so many of us have such chronic stress in our lives, our adrenaline and our cortisol are kind of always running up here a lot of times. And our bodies are constantly pumping out. And then sometimes what will happen, and this is the anxiety and stress. So then sometimes what will happen is we get so fatigued, so overworked, our bodies are so exhausted from pumping out all this cortisol and adrenaline, and then we crash. It can't keep up. It stops. We crash, and then we feel fatigued and exhausted and tired. And that can kind of sometimes end up being a roller coaster. Some people are up here, and then some people are doing this. Our body, we crash, we can't function for a little while, then we have to recover, and then we start stressing again and pumping out all those stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, all those things. So what this group of ingredients does is it helps bring us back to baseline. So instead of running up here or crashing down here, it's going to help moderate that effect. And it does that. It's not a stimulant or a depressant. It does that by nourishing our adrenal glands and our thyroid and all these things, and helping to balance those hormones, because it's a very delicate balance that goes on between your pituitary gland, I think it's the hypothalamus, and your thyroid and your adrenal glands and all your kind of energy production hormones. So it helps a lot with that. And in fact, if you've been drinking Shakeology consistently, you probably noticed, or if you are just starting, you probably will notice that your energy will improve. And that's because it's keeping you from doing this. You may also notice that it helps reduce your stress or helps manage your stress better. And that's because it's bringing you back to the baseline. If you were to purchase one supplement for your adrenal health, which your adrenal glands are the little like triangle shaped glands that sit right on top of your kidneys, and they're responsible for your stress hormones and your body's stress response, hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And if you purchased one supplement to help support your adrenal glands, it would contain one or more of these ingredients. And most likely it would contain ashwagandha. It's one of the most popular ones. And that would cost around $30 to $70 just for that one component. Just to give you a little bit of a baseline for comparison. Some of the other ingredients, cordyceps, maitake, reishi, chaga, these are really powerful. Like I said, they're medicinal mushrooms, and they're actually being researched. They've been used heavily in traditional cultures, other cultures for a long time, but they're being researched in Western medicine, I guess, for their ability to fight cancer cells. And of course, I'm not a doctor. I'm not making any claims or promises, but go take a look for yourself at these studies that are coming out, and the very intriguing ability of these ingredients to fight cancer cells, to promote longevity and vitality and boost your immune health. This whole category of adaptogen blends, you guys, was huge for me personally. It was probably the reason why I started drinking this. Everything else was kind of just bonus in my mind. But when I first started, I was struggling with anxiety and stress and also chronic fatigue. I was the one doing this all the time, all day long. And I was having thyroid problems, which I had learned were probably meant I was also having adrenal problems. And there was just a lot going on as far as my hormones and my energy, and I was a mess. And this component of Shakeology was so powerful for me that it was like, I think it was like 2 weeks in, and I felt like a new person. And I think that was primarily from these adaptogens. And that's why to this day, I drink, every single day at least once, maybe twice, because I know that I have these thyroid problems. And I know that I need to be staying on top of that. So do some additional research into these ingredients. I highly suggest it. Okay, the next category is probably my second favorite category, and that's the digestive blend. So many people, including myself when I started, are struggling with digestive issues. I had IBS and reflux and tons of bloating, and it's a miserable way to live, I can tell you. And this blend is really powerful for people to help out with that. It's got, if you look at the ingredients in here, you're going to see yacon root and chicory root. Those are both prebiotics, which are food for probiotics. So if you go to the store and you buy a probiotic, some of those probiotics, maybe even a lot of them, are actually going to be dead by the time you consume them, because they need those prebiotics to be able to stay alive, to have that shelf life. So the chicory root and the yacon root are the prebiotics. They're keeping the probiotics alive so they can make it into your body. All right, so then we get to the next one, which is Bacillus coagulans. That is the probiotic that is in Shakeology. And I didn't realize this until a few months ago. I was learning more about this. And I love it because they were so intentional with the specific probiotic that they chose to include in Shakeology. There are thousands of strains of probiotics, and pretty much everyone realizes that probiotics are good for you, that your gut flora has a huge impact on your digestive health and your overall health. Because if our digestive system is messed up, then we will not be able to absorb the nutrients in the foods that we eat, and we will I personally ended up with nutrient deficiencies, and that was part of the reason why. So this particular probiotic, though, is I just said it and I can't say it. Bacillus coagulans, I have to look at the word, is scientifically, oh my gosh, I've been talking too long, scientifically proven to be able to make it through your stomach acid and actually into your small intestine, because that's really where it needs to get to be able to help with our digestion. That's where we have problems like leaky gut, with the bacterial imbalance, too much bad bacteria, food kind of like sitting and fermenting in our gut. That's where that happens typically. So it needs to be able to make it, any probiotic needs to be able to make it to your small intestine to be able to be helpful. A lot of them end up being burned up in your stomach acid. But Bacillus coagulans has a hard protein shell around it, and it's been scientifically studied and shown to be able to survive through the stomach acid because of that hard protein shell and be able to make it into your small intestine. So that's extremely powerful. And it's another great example to me of how most people wouldn't know any different, wouldn't know any better. And yet they went to the extra effort to make sure that they chose an ingredient that actually was going to deliver what it's supposed to deliver, that it's actually going to be able to make it to where it needs to be and do what it's supposed to do in our body. So I just love that. Let's see. Bacillus coagulans is included in Shakeology, in Daily Sunshine, and in the Ultimate Reset, which is the 21-day kind of body system reboot, basically. Very clean, very restorative supplements. And let's see, did I mention anything else there? So this whole, let's see, okay. Next is enzymes, digestive enzymes. So the rest of the ingredients here, they all end with ACE, ASE, amylase, cellulase, lactase, glucomylase, and I don't think I can say the last two. Those are all digestive enzymes. And digestive enzymes are important because our bodies need them to be able to break down and absorb the food we eat. Amylase, for example, so different foods require specific enzymes to be able for our bodies to be able to break them down and absorb them. Amylase is helpful for breaking down carbohydrates. Cellulase is good for vegetables. Lactase helps your body break down any lactose. In fact, sometimes people develop lactose intolerance later in life because they don't have enough lactase. They're not getting enough to be able to break down and process the lactose. So a wide variety of enzymes will help your body break down and absorb the wide variety of foods you're eating, and it's essential for digestive health and wellness. And it's another thing that I love that they have in here, because again, most people don't know what they are, and most people wouldn't think to look for it, and if it wasn't here, you probably wouldn't know that you were missing it. And it's just another thing that they didn't have to include it, but they know that in this day and age, with our stress, with our diets, this is an area where a lot of us need help. Our bodies, we're just not getting enough digestive enzymes, and so a lot of us are not breaking down and absorbing food properly. And so in this digestive blend, you have sort of this trifecta of ingredients to help make sure that your digestive system is operating at its best. There's also tons of fiber in here, which is helpful too. But these ingredients are super powerful, and it's actually why 90% of the people who start drinking Shakeology regularly will notice improved digestion. It's also, specifically the Bacillus coagulans, is also why people will sometimes notice when they first start drinking Shakeology, they may experience some bloating or some gas maybe after you first start drinking it regularly. And that it will go away. What that is often it's the die-off process that happens if you have a lot of bad bacteria in your small intestine. When the Bacillus coagulans comes in, it will kill off a lot of that bad bacteria. And when the bacteria dies, it has this off gas. It puts off this gas that can make you feel a little bloated and gassy in the beginning. So something to be aware of. This will go away, and it's essential for that to happen in order to reestablish a balance of good bacteria and a healthy balance of bacteria in your gut. So if you notice that, keep going and don't stop drinking it. What I've seen some people do, not to name names, but I'm married to one of them. What some people would do, back before a while back, he's gotten much better. He would start drinking it and then stop drinking it for a while, and then start drinking it and then stop. And so this bacteria balance thing that's going on in his gut is like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's like this constant war going on in his digestive system. So don't do that. It's necessary to be consistent with it to prevent that bacteria from making a comeback, basically, because it's a balance, it's a delicate balance there. So that, I think I covered it all. Yes, I covered it all. Okay, so I do want to go over a few questions that I got and some questions that I commonly get about Shakeology. And these were also questions that I had when I first started looking into it. So I think they're great questions. The first one is, does it have caffeine? And it depends on the flavor. The chocolate and the cafe latte do have some caffeine. There's no added caffeine. It's in the chocolate one, it's just the caffeine that's naturally present in chocolate. And in the cafe latte one, it's the caffeine that is naturally present in the coffee berry, not the coffee bean. It's not the coffee bean that's included. It's the coffee berry. And so it does have some low levels of caffeine, not nearly as much as if, it was the coffee bean, like what we make coffee out of. So the cafe latte in chocolate does have low levels of caffeine. It's 12 to 20 milligrams per serving. So 95 milligrams is about where a cup of coffee would be. So it's very low. It's not enough you're not going to notice an increase in your energy because of that amount of caffeine. And it's probably not going to keep you awake at night unless you're very, very, very sensitive. I tend to be sensitive to caffeine, but I have no problem drinking the cafe latte and then going to bed. It's not that much. The energy boost that you get from Shakeology is not from caffeine. It's from the adaptogen blend. So that's when you notice that increase in energy is from the nutrition that's in there, not because of the stimulant. And then why does it help with cravings? Okay, so we oftentimes have cravings because we're lacking certain nutrients in our body, and it's craving something to try and fill that need. It's trying to tell us, okay, we need this, we need something's missing. And usually we reach for the wrong things. I reach for like cookies or donuts or, whatever it might be. But when we drink Shakeology and we get this density of nutrition into our body, those cravings are going to subside. I have had some people who they drink one and it's like, wow, it helps my cravings. And some people, it takes a little bit of time, of drinking it regularly to really notice an impact on your cravings. And it just depends on, every body is a little bit different, and the needs and based on our past nutritional habits and the demands and our stress levels, there's a lot of variability. But the reason that it helps with cravings is because it's filling those nutritional gaps. And that helps your body be more satiated so that you're not craving every little thing. One of my favorite tips actually for dealing with cravings is to drink a shake instead of reaching for whatever it is that you feel like you need at the moment. So the more your body feels satiated, the more nutrients you get, the more your cravings are going to go down. And that's one of the reasons it's so powerful in helping people stick to their nutrition program. So I think that's all I've got. Like I said, I would love, I'm a bit of a nerd, but it would be so awesome if you guys looked into some of these, especially the adaptogen blend, a little bit more for yourselves. There's amazing stuff in there, and it does awesome. It does some truly incredible things for your body. For me, the energy, the supporting my thyroid, supporting my adrenal glands, and also boosting a healthy immune system. So I have a history of autoimmune disease, and if you have any exposure to autoimmune disease, you probably know that they usually show up in like packages. Like you don't get just one. You usually get like a whole kit of autoimmune diseases because they travel together. And so all the ingredients in here boost my immune system, and they also make it a healthy, functioning immune system. And again, I'm not a doctor. I can't make any claims. I can just share my own experience and what I've learned from my own research, and encourage you to do your own. But for me, I love the way that it supports my body and the way that it helps make sure that my autoimmune system, my autoimmune disease stays in remission and that I don't develop anymore. And it's just supporting our body in so many different areas, and like promoting optimal function of our organs and our bodies and everything. So I'll leave it at that. Like I said, there's tons of great stuff in here. Do your own research. Don't take my word for it. And that's it. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to, I'll post this on Facebook. You can comment below the video and ask me any questions. You can also email me at sarahsfitadventures@gmail.com. Just all together, no hyphens or anything in there. sarahsfitadventures@gmail.com. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.